Hello, welcome everyone to the class. So this class is going to be a fun ride through reverse logistics, sustainability, closed loop supply chains. It's going to be very interesting. This PowerPoint is going to be dedicated to introducing you to me, what the course is, the expectations, big picture on what we're going to be doing, and where to find everything. Any questions you have, we're going to hopefully answer them here. If not, I'm going to provide you with my contact information to get in touch with me. So first we're going to talk about who am I. Then we're going to talk about the format of the course in terms of how it's going to be conducted, the topical questions and the assignments and so on. We're going to talk about extra credit. We're going to talk about grading a little bit. We're going to talk about the exams. And then I'm going to give you kind of what I expect from you from the course, and hopefully we can talk in the future as we have Google Hangouts what you expect to get from me. Who am I? I'm Stephen Carnevale. I received my PhD from Rutgers University in supply chain management with a minor in marketing science and econometrics, actually, so analytics, essentially. My bachelor's was also from Rutgers in management. My academic pedigree, so to speak, the reason why I guess I'm teaching here, is the reverse logistics is pretty close to me in the sense that I studied with Dale Rogers. So you have his book, you'll be reading his articles. He's kind of the father of reverse logistics. He founded it academically and started talking about what we are going to talk about through the entire course. My professional background, before I got into this wonderful world of academia, 7+ years of marketing, logistics. Started out in sales, moved on to various different positions, ended up opening up my own marketing consulting company. We wanted to be kind of Mad Men and do branding. What we ended up doing was trade show displays. So my supply chain interest, I kind of literally fell into it. I would deal with procuring the vendors and dealing with the suppliers and returning the product. And so I did the supply chain end of what we were doing, which kind of led me to my interest in supply chain. And then since then, and a combination between while I've been in academia, I've done various consulting, mostly in the operations, logistics, and marketing research area. So I've got a pretty interesting, I think, background to address a lot of these different topics. So, two big picture things that I want to talk about first. You'll see on these two slides, learning goals 1 and 2. Essentially, your global supply chain management program has several learning goals. They're phased in to be either introduced, expanded, or applied based on where the course is and the chronological structure of the course. So the first two learning goals that you're going to see here, the two learning goals that you're going to see here, problem solving and decision making, and the systems perspective, are both going to be introduced or expanded in this class. So on the one hand, the learning goal 1, problem solving, what we want to be able to impart in you is a thorough understanding of how to define the problem, how to figure out, gather data, explain the problem, gather data, and then figure out a way in which to make a conclusion from it. So not just a cursory understanding of, oh yeah, that's an issue, but what's the issue, why is it happening, let's gather some supporting evidence, let's analyze what we found, and then let's make a conclusion. The second learning goal, the systems perspective, as you might imagine, is well fitting in a course that deals with the closed loop. But what we're talking about here is that who are the stakeholders in the supply chain and what exactly are their stakes? Realizing that these problems are complex and multidimensional and the impact that they have on each of those different stakeholders we discussed. So the outcome of this learning goal is that you want to be able to identify who the stakeholders are in the supply chain, in this case, the reverse supply chain, what the interdependencies are and how they manifest themselves between and amongst the stakeholders, and then analyzing the decisions that are being made by those stakeholders. A lot of this is going to be done through case study, discussion questions, and so on. So thematically, to sort of explain what I think reverse logistics is and closed loop supply chains, we're going to talk about the connection that reverse logistics has to strategy. That's going to make up a big portion. The connection that reverse logistics has to sustainability. And then finally, transitioning into reverse logistics in the 21st century, sort of integrating data analytics, integrating where the global perspective looks like, and then what the future trends on reverse logistics actually are. The format of the course in general is going to be readings plus lectures. So these lectures that you'll watch on video, you can watch it as many times as you like, unless you get bored of my voice. Each lecture is going to correspond to one or two PowerPoint presentations. So you'll notice the naming conventions of the lecture will match to the naming conventions of the PowerPoint. And the syllabus is going to detail the corresponding lectures and PowerPoints, as well as whatever reading might be required for the week. The reading itself is really important. You've only got the optimal time current research suggests for these videos is no more than around 30 minutes, right? Beyond that, you kind of start to drone out, or at least you have to take a break. So the readings, what they do is you can look at them at your own pace, but they connect the big picture that I'm saying into what's actually happening. So these lectures are really just to kind of stimulate your thought on the topic, get you to understand some things that might have been a little bit more cryptic, but those readings really connect it all together. So it's vitally important that you have to do all the reading material. Participation, given this is an online course, is going to be slightly different. It's the weekly discussions. So on D2L, each week I'm going to chronologically post different questions that correspond to different thematic discussions that we've had throughout the lectures, the readings, and so on. So I'm going to present these discussions. You're required to address the topic. Each of you individually has to engage at once. You have to say, this is my opinion on all of these things. This is my answer to the question. But as is the case in a lot of the times with the online format, a student may disagree with you or agree with you. And if that's the case, we want to stimulate that discussion, so your responsibility is then to respond to the student who called you out or who agreed with you. Either way, start that communication, and you'll see it's very fascinating how everybody tends to join in. It's a really, really great forum to read all these posts on with subject matter experts that you will be by the end of this course. Also to note regarding the participation, it's not just the quantity and the frequency, really is the quality. So here is where you have an opportunity to express yourself, and you should do so carefully, of course, constructively, and logically, and that's what's going to be a big component of the evaluation as well. Just to give you kind of an idea, you've got 30-30, 20-20. What I mean by that is you've got online interaction and case assignments are weighted equally. So that discussion is very important, more so as you can see than the final or the midterm. So that big online discussion is very important, and then the case assignments, which correspond to a specific topic and that we've discussed in the course, also very important. The reason why those two are weighted more highly than the midterm is that those two are really where you synthesize and then you come up with insight. Much different than, in some cases, just kind of me pulsing and me testing the waters on what you've learned. So I put a very big emphasis on the discussion and the interaction. Your grade will correspond to however many points that you've scored based on the weighting system that we've noted above. So the final grades are based on the final scores in the syllabus. Everything is done through D2L. If there's any issues, please come see me within a week and we can update them. One thing you may not like, but I'll tell you why you might like it in a minute, is that point totals are not rounded up. I don't round. So if 95 is the cutoff for an A and you've received a 94.5, you're going to get what you received. And the reason we do that is because of the extra credit. So extra credit, what I want here is to find something that's relevant to the week that we've discussed. If we're discussing the effect that returns policies have on customer satisfaction, go out there and find that Target just changed their return policy. Kohl's just changed their return policy. And show me the impact that it has. Write just a quick half-a-page summary about that article, and that's a half a point towards your final grade. You're allowed 10 of these assignments throughout the whole course. So what that translates to is that you could conceivably go from an 85 to a 90 by just doing 10 of these simple one-page assignments and sent them in to me. That's the reason why I don't extra credit. I don't round up. I allow you to round up your own grade and contribute as much as you want to. Just note, each week only one article is submitted. So you can't wait till week 10 and say, here, professor, here's 10 articles. That, unfortunately, will not work. Jump back. The assignments, which I mentioned, are very important. So the assignments, individual. I'm going to have a section on D2L where there is the case information, where to access the cases, and the questions that correspond to each case. You have to do these individually. I encourage you to discuss with one another, talk about the problems, but you have to turn in an individual write-up. So again, no problem with you guys discussing the case and meeting on it. You know, pop into Google office hours when I have them and we can discuss it. If everybody's there, great. But individually, I need a unique write-up from every one of you. There is a format to be followed. Please note the format. It's very specific, and it's done so for a reason, so I'd appreciate if you adhere to that. Yes, okay. So, exams. 2 exams, 1 midterm and a final. The exams are going to be pretty classical. There's going to be 3 sections to the exams. You're going to have a very short multiple choice section, a couple short answer where it's kind of just give me the executive summary of the executive summary, essentially. 3-4 questions, put it out there. And then there's going to be a long section where it's basically an essay. But you've got the entire week, so I'm going to launch the midterm on the beginning of the week, and you have until 11:59 p.m. that Sunday night. So basically you have Monday at 12:01 to Sunday 11:59. You got the full time to do it. Put thought into it. The quality is really important here. Each of which are going to be worth 20%. As I mentioned, the final is going to be cumulative. So the overall expectations. Essentially, and this may go without saying, it may not, I expect you to interact with the class. Obviously, a large portion of your grade is contingent on that interaction, but be on D2L. Make comments. I make it a point to try to comment as frequently as possible on your comments, but have fun with one another. I mean, the whole point of this is to learn, and I think the best way to learn is really from other people. Engaging in discussions. Maybe they had a different perspective that you didn't realize. So get those readings and say, no, you know what, I think you read something differently than I did. Make it interactive, make it fun. Obviously, I understand that you're all working professionals. Work sometimes gets in the way of life. Totally understand that. And I'm more than willing to work with you. Please email me ahead of time and we can reschedule exam timelines, case timelines if you need to. I don't encourage it, but if work gets in the way, just email me ahead of time. We can work it out. No problem. If you come to me after the fact, I'm going to be a little reluctant to help because you've had this whole time to let me know, unless, of course, it's an emergency. But I'm talking about pre-planned work events and so on and so forth. And if you have a question about anything, if you think something is an emergency or not, just shoot me an email. We can talk about it. Or you can pop into the weekly virtual office hours. I'm going to have them posted on D2L so that you see my availability. Essentially, it's a time where I'm sitting at my kitchen table waiting to wave and talk to people about assignment issues, the topic itself, misunderstanding something on the lecture, life in general. So I'll have those posted on D2L. And yeah, that's me. So if you have any other questions, feel free to email me is the best way. That phone number is to my office, so if I'm there and I answer it, great. I don't know the voicemail password, so please don't leave me a message. Email is the best way to reach me. Postal mail as well, I suppose, if you're far enough away and you have something to send me. Otherwise, I look forward to having this class with you. Take care.